Hello and welcome back to episode 29 of my AllTheMods10 SSP playthrough. In this episode, our main goal is to complete this Apothic Enchanting setup and get very good enchants on all of our gear. So, something unfortunate did happen. I was recording, but then I saw that my mic was turned off. So unfortunately, instead of redoing everything, as we could technically, but the advancements won't show, and I've already redone stuff in the past, I'm going to make a little montage / recap of everything that happened. Hopefully this won't ever happen again in the future, and as I'll now triple check to make sure that my microphone is turned on, but this isn't really how I want my Let's Plays to feel, but hey, always good to try something new as well. So for starters, we completed the Apothic Enchanting questline and made the quote-unquote best enchanting setup according to the quest book, which is just 1 bookshelf of stability, 2 draconic end shelves, 2 heartforged sea shelves, 1 bee shelf, 1 deep shelf of arcane treasures, and 5 echoing skulk shelves, which wasn't terrible, just some more infusing of bookshelves, resource blocks, honey blocks, etc. The biggest issue, though, is after we got the best enchanting setup, we weren't actually able to infuse the enchantment library into the Library of Alexandria due to only needing 45 to 50 quantica instead of 100%. So, in order to resolve this, we made a ton, like 9 or 10 melon shelves, which decrease Eterna and also decrease Quanta. It decreases Eterna by 2 and decreases Quanta by 10, which is super helpful to have on hand for any enchanting setup. With that decreased Eterna, though, we did need an additional bookshelf to help increase that Eterna, but again, we don't want a bookshelf that increases Quanta again. So we used a Heartforged sea shelf in order to increase the Eterna and also increase the Arcana, but we're already at 100% of that, so it didn't really matter for the latter. So after doing that, we made the Library of Alexandria to hold all of our enchants. This essentially does the same thing as the enchantment library, but can hold so much more enchantments. Though honestly, we could have just used the first one, as I've never even maxed out the base library, but it's always good to upgrade when you can. How the library works is you can search up enchantments and take them out and put them in, though you can only pull out the max level that you put in. For example, if you only put in a Fortune 3, but let's say you put in like 5 Fortune 3s, so technically you could take out like a Fortune 5, Fortune 6, you'd only be able to pull out a Fortune 3 as well. So if you want to automatically be able to pull out like an Efficiency 9, you'll need to make one of those books and put it in the library. After this, we moved all of our enchanted books into it and stripped the armor and weapons we got from the other for their enchantments as well. You could recycle them, but honestly, we're not hurting on diamonds or netherite, so I just trashed them. Then, since now we have all of our books into one consolidated space, we just upgraded our gear a little bit, putting protection 4 on our armor and increasing the sharpness and looting on our sword and the efficiency and fortune on our pickaxe. What I would recommend doing, though, even though it's again the quote-unquote best enchantment setup, you can still get tons of negative enchantments on your armor, and there's so many enchantments you probably won't get your ideal setup straight out the gate with the enchantment table alone. So I would recommend making a separate set of armor and tools, enchanting those, then stripping those enchants, and then placing them in your library so you can pull them out separately and customize your enchantments on your main armor and gear. I would also recommend as well placing the maxed out enchants on your weapons and gear all at once, as the more you enchant, the more levels it costs. I think currently right now I'm over 1,000 experience level points per enchant on my pickaxe from making that mistake. So I might try removing those enchants and making another unobtainium pickaxe to mitigate that. We'll see though. So now that we got all of this good gear, I think it's about time we, make it even better and work towards making the Hephaestus Forge from Forbidden Arcanus. For this mod, to get into it, we'll need Stellarite, Arcanus, and Runes. The latter two we've already found for mining. The Stellarite, though, is super rare, so I would recommend just using your digital miner to start with. Even with the digital miner in a maxed out, 32 chunk area, I was only able to find 15, so if you want more or a lot of Stellarite before you make the bees, you're probably going to have to move the digital miner around. Do be careful, though, when mining the Stellarite itself, as Stellarite does explode when mined. So stay slightly back and make sure you mine it in a claimed area, unlike what I did and made a huge mess outside my base. I then made a separate layer to the Mystical Agriculture Farm for Darkstone seeds, as we'll need a decent amount for the upcoming forges. The main ingredient for each of their multi-block structures is that Darkstone, so definitely going to want to stock up on it. And now we're all caught up to the future. I will be sure not to have this happen again because it's probably more annoying for me than it is for you guys, but it's not really how I want my Minecraft Let's Plays to be. So something that I was talking about before I was so rudely interrupted by my own stupidity was looking at making additional bees for Arcanus and for runes. These come from converting diamond bees with blocks of Arcanus and then converting those bees with rune blocks. So if we look here, and I don't know why, but they're kind of looking like fish in the UI here. But basically, we can convert the diamond bee with the arcane crystal block into an Arcanus bee, and then this bee conversion is just with a rune block to get the rune bee. I'm probably looking at making 5 of the Arcanus bees and maybe only 1 rune bee for now, as I don't even know if we have enough Arcanus to make the 5 that I want. Let me double check here. Yeah, absolutely not. It looks like we only have enough to make 3 at the absolute most, but I did go ahead and make the 6 diamond bees for now. We're also going to be looking at making a Celerite bee in the future, but that's going to be a little bit later down the line, as we do need a tier 5 Festus Forge, as well as some other fun stuff from the mod, so we'll be getting into that later. But again, with these diamond bees, I'm just going to convert them into the arcane bees. I don't know what's happening. First it was the Easter eggs, now the bees are all upside down, and everything's all kinds of weird. Do we have enough runes? I believe we do, yeah. So I am actually going to turn one of these guys into a rune bee just so that we can have some just some passive income of the runes. And you come back here. Perfect. So what I am going to do is, again, just set up the hives for them. And oh crap, I might need to, for my digital miner, yeah, I need to get some more arcane crystals because we do need a block for them to pollinate. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to get the hive set up and we'll be back. So now with all of that set up, got some Arcanus combs and rune cones, I'm going to head and set up the zombie combs as well. So we're going to go ahead and get all of these combs pumped into our system. But if you remember, we did make some draconic comb blocks. We've been letting that build up for a little while. We have about 800 comb blocks, which is pretty nice, I should say. So I'm going to get some speedier upgrades, and I have already taught our system how to make a heated centrifuge, which is just some iron, some speed upgrades, blocks of copper, the powered centrifuge, and the most, I guess, important component is the inactive dragon egg, which is some draconic chunks surrounding an egg. That's essentially how you make the inactive dragon egg. But with that, we can now go under here and give this guy some power, as well as tell him to extract. And yeah, it's extract on brown. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab another speedier upgrade from Ender.io, place that in here. And now we can tell our system to, if I can find my way out of this tangled cable mess, to export, and I forgot to set the export bus here, export these comb blocks into here. And again, make sure it is set to round robin mode. Even though we only have the one here, this should be fine if we didn't set it, but would just prefer to go ahead and set it anyways. And now, yes, it should be running very smoothly. So let me get some acceleration cards as well for the export bus. And boom, now we're cooking. So this guy should be running. We should be getting a lot of inactive, or some dragon essence, draconic dust, and so we can definitely use that to slowly but surely make our way up to some more Omega upgrades. So I went ahead and carved out a little area here, or started building the baseline for a little bit of an area here for the multi-block structure. But before we actually get into that, I am going to want to make some of this arcane crystal dust in Mundebiter dust, however you pronounce that. So those two are essentially going to be the foundation to get into Diorum. Again, these pronunciations, man, they're killing me. But essentially, you just make this with some gold, some charcoal, it looks like, and some of the two dusts combined. So in order to get the first type of dust, the arcane crystal dust, you just need to smelt up some of these arcane crystals. And let me see the arcane. Yes, perfect. Now we got a handful of those. And then we'll just get the other type of dust. We are missing some phantom membrane. So next time it turns to night, I think what I'm going to do is off camera just create a hostile neural network for the phantom itself, because we can get that from there. We can get 8 of them from one phantom prediction. So pretty nice, not too bad. And so with that, we can now make the Diorum. But I do believe, yes, we've already gotten some of that from like quest rewards. Looks like we have about 5 of them. So we can just go ahead, and for now, we're definitely going to need more in the future, but claim that quest reward. The next thing I am going to want to get into, and the reason why we built the Darkstone seeds, is because we are going to want a handful of all this good stuff in order to make the altar itself. So I'm going to put these resources together here, and we will be back. So now I have cleared out an even bigger area. I do want to get myself a tape measure here, because if I am correct, I have perfectly carved out a 17 by 17 area here. I believe sometimes the tape measure is a little bit funky with the numbers. No, that is actually 16, but from here it is actually 17. So I think I have this correct, and if you shift left click, I believe, or take it in and out of your inventory, it will all clear. So then, yes, I am going to want to just make sure that is 17. Yes, okay. So I am going to want, I think, the dark oak log here as like a little base. So you're going to want that there. And so from this wall to this wall, that should be 17. And then from this wall to this wall should be 17 as well. Perfect. So the biggest, I believe, if I remember correctly, the biggest structure this is going to be a 15 by 15. So we might want to back this up a little bit. But so essentially it'll go from here all the way to, oh no, I am mistaking. So it'll go, yeah, from here all the way to here. So we are going to want to place this in the middle. Yeah, now that I think about it, I am going to back this up a couple of blocks just because I don't want the beginning to be right at the entrance. I want like at least 3 blocks of space. So I'm going to back this up 3, and then we'll start placing. So after measuring it out, this is where I want the center to be. Now, for the forge, I know there are some things that you can make in order to get like the actual structure in place, but for now, since this first part's pretty easy, I'm just going to go off of the little guide that it has here for the tier 1 forge. So in the middle and then surrounding it, so in the middle we're going to want the chiseled polished darkstone, and then surrounding it we're going to want the arcane polished darkstone. So go ahead, place those down as such. Then typically how I like to do things is 1 or 2 from each side. We're going to then want the gilded chiseled polished darkstone. So boom, 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 boom. And these names are always just such a mouthful. I just view them by the how they look, essentially. And then just, again, essentially just in the middle here is all going to be the polished dark stone. So we're just going to put the middle in here. And there are some more of these gilded, chiseled, polished dark stones here, but they're going to be in like a knight. Like, I don't know if you guys play chess or not, but they're going to be in a knight's pattern essentially from each other. So cross 2 over 1. So this one's going to be here. Cross 2 up 1 is going to be here, and then here, and then here. And then essentially just surrounding all of this again is going to be the dark stone itself. So now that we've run out of all the polished darkstone, we know that this is done. And what we can do is, for the time being at least, we are going to move these, but place these pedestals around. They're going to be on top of the polished darkstone, the gilded, chiseled, polished darkstone. And all that we're going to do is we're going to grab a smithing table, shift right, or just right click. Is it not the Mundabar dust? I thought you smacked the... Next, place the smithing table on the inner gilded, chiseled, polished dark stone. Yeah, that's what I did. And smack it with a Mundabar dust. Did I place the wrong block? I did not place the wrong block. I just removed the pedestals, so you need to do that before you actually place in your pedestals. So then we'll go ahead and place these guys in. And so if we take a look in the forge, there are 4 main components. There is Aureole, there are souls, there is blood, and then there is experience. So the first one, the Aureole, you can get this in a couple of different ways. So the first way is going to be through the Aureole bottle. So if you're really desperate, you can make some potions of regeneration, surround it with arcane crystal dust, and make an Aureole bottle. This really doesn't give you a lot of Aureole though, so I would not recommend this way. It's very, moderately resource intensive comparatively to what you get. The second way is going to be through the Arcane Crystal Obelisk. And the reason why I say we are temporarily going to move these is because we actually have to place the obelisk in the slot where the pedestals would typically stand, but you can place the pedestals anywhere, just as long as they're in the forge area. So I was just putting them there for an example's sake, but I'm actually just going to surround the forge like this. And if we take a look in here, we are slowly and passively generating Aureole. So now we are at 5, and we can make a total of 8 of these obelisks and just generate 8 Aureole per tick. The third way, and we will get to this way later because this is really the automatable way. We can absolutely do this now, and we might, but basically we're going to need water in a runic crucible. So we can, again, this is why it's later. We're going to need some machine casings and a lot of these packs, Elementum, this relic, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to need the tier 5 forge, and then the machine casing is a little bit down the line for the AllTheMods10 and steel ingots. So we'll get to it eventually. This is more the automatable way, but we're going to need 100 source, I believe, from Ars Navu, with 2 of the arcane crystal dust, some water, and that will get us 250 millibuckets of liquid Aureole. So once we start automating the forge, we'll get to that. For now, honestly, I think the best way is to just make a ton of these obelisks. So in order to do that, there is no technical recipe, but if you place an arcane polished darkstone and then 2 arcane crystal blocks on top of it, you will get the obelisk. So I'm going to get some more arcane, and this is why we made the bees for this, because we are going to need a lot of blocks. So I think I can get 8. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then get the Mundabar. I'm just calling it Mundabar at this point. It's not how you pronounce it, but just roll with it. Just roll with it for me. So we are going to now make a few more of these. We don't need all 8, but that is what we get, and we're going to get just some more of these arcane crystal blocks just so we can max out our production. And smack, 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 smack. Perfect. So we should see this now at 51. Yeah, now at 59. So we're getting 8 per tick. So we are now passively generating Aureole. The second one is going to be the souls. Now, these are going to be a little bit more difficult to get. So the main and really only way to get souls, and we can look at it here, is going to be either in the wild. I don't know if I probably haven't shown too much exploring on camera, but if you're exploring in your world, you should see these like little souls flying around. If you smack them, you will get a soul. And so you can just put them in the forge and you'll fill it up with souls. Now, that really isn't a good way. I don't really like that way. The other way, though, is through a soul extractor, which we will be getting into. We're going to need some of these blocks. We're going to need some Edelwood planks as well, so we'll definitely get to this, but basically you right-click it with soul sand, and you can extract the souls from the soul sand. Now, this does have durability. So eventually what we'll be getting into is making an eternal soul extractor, which essentially just makes it have unlimited durability. But we are going to need an eternal stella, which again is a little bit later down the line. We need a tier 3 for that. So again, for the time being, I'll probably do it manually off camera. The next element we are going to need is blood. So these come from mobs. We can kill mobs with a test tube in our offhand and we will get blood. Again, kill mobs on or near the forge to add the blood. We can do the iron spikes from mog branding utils. It does count as a player kill, or maybe the iron spikes do not count as a player kill, but the diamond ones, I believe, if we read the little blurb here, the mob masher, which does require diamonds, I just call them the diamond spikes, they do count as player kills. So we could automate it that way to get the blood for the test tubes. Again, there's some other ways to automate the blood, but we'll get to there when we get there. And the last thing is going to be experience. Now, we can use petrified orbs, which we can and will make bees for. Hooray. But then the other way to get them, petrified orb. I thought we could... Oh, only obtainable with black hole. Okay, so there's no recipe, but we'll follow this quest line to obtain it. But we can also put bottles of XP into here. So that's why we didn't get too many of the bottles of enchanting, but we do have a setup to be able to do that into auto export. I believe we can also just auto export the liquid experience we have into the forge once we make it automatable, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So those are the 4 main parts. Now there's only one upgrade in here currently. There are other upgrades. So right now we have the Malicious Pact as well as the Artisan Pack. So it will tell you kind of where these are located. Just when I was exploring, I picked these up. There are a handful of others which we will need to go exploring for in the future, but for right now, I honestly think that's all we're really going to need for the time being. So I just went ahead and turned off the mob crusher, and as you can see, the manual way for collecting this really isn't that bad. I just needed to kill 3 of them to get the 3,000. It's really not bad at all. So don't mind doing it manual for the time being. We will look into, again, automating it. We can also, like, if we want to get it set up, we can kill mobs on or near the forge itself with the spikes and all that good stuff. So multiple different ways of automating it, but we'll get to that again in the future. So we are going to start with collecting the souls. And so to start, I do want to finally get a lumber bee. This is going to allow me, if I can get some cages here, this is going to allow me to continuously create the logs that I need in order to not have to go out and explore to get them again. So again, we are going to need some Edelwood logs. really the only way that I have found to continuously recreate them is from the lumber bee. We can use this as its pollination source, and the lumber bee will then output the respective pollination sources logs. So again, going to go ahead and get that set up and all ready to go. So again, as I've stated before, there's about 100 different ways to do the same thing in this mod pack. This is just the way that I personally like to do things. But I'm going to go ahead and get a couple of these Edelwood planks, and we're going to request some glass to be crafted up. And with that, I can make the Utrim jar, Uterim jar, and then make the soul extractor here. And what we're going to do with this is, again, just take this into the nether real quick and find some soul sands. So just quickly found some soul sand over here. And again, if I hold right click on this, I will extract these souls. And again, we'll just go ahead and get them. Again, does have a durability on this. Again, we will make this fully automatable with just dire things in the future. Just when we get this guy to not have durability anymore. So just wanted to grab a handful of souls here. I also just wanted to quickly come over here and change my setup a little bit. So I stopped importing the liquid XP. I stopped exporting into here. For now, we will probably change it back in the future, but for now I do want the bottles of enchanting. So what I am doing is this liquid essence is now being pumped into this dissolution chamber, and I'm powering it from the bottom, and it is essentially just turning them into bottles of enchanting that you just saw there. So now we do have unlimited bottles of enchanting that we can just throw into our forge whenever we want. Awesome. So now I think we're going to work towards the X-Petrified Orb. So the first thing I want to do is get some Corrupt Souls. So there's a couple of different ways to do this. The main way, though, is to get soul looting, which, since we've made the maxed out Apothic Enchanting, we have found a lot of soul looting by, enchanting our swords and just stripping those enchants. So I am going to put this, though, on my secondary sword with the Mystical Enlightenment. And we are basically going to do the same exact thing. We're going to turn off our Mob Crusher here. Run with no redstone. Yeah, and just get a blaze. We should get some. I haven't seen any. It's typically pretty common. Am I doing this wrong? No, I was doing it right. So if you kill a mob, the corrupted lost soul will spawn. You can then kill that to get the corrupted soul. So I don't know why it wasn't either. I wasn't looking for it, or maybe like the blazes don't work. I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to go try with the blazes again, but I just got 2 from the skeletons there. So the other way that you can get corrupted souls, after we clear out this inventory a little bit, is by growing Edelwood. And so if you don't have any Edelwood in your system currently, you can obtain the growing Edelwood from the Wandering Trader, or you can use a corrupt soul on an oak sapling. So I am going to use the latter way here real quick. You can, if you want to like be patient or get lucky, and wait for the Wandering Trader, absolutely, by all means. But I'm just going to do that, and I think if I get some bone meal, I'm pretty sure bone meal will work on this. Yes. Okay, perfect. So then, yeah, you can get some of the Edelwood from that as well. Awesome. And apparently, according to the quest log, growing Edelwood acts as the sapling for Edelwood. These are the only way for getting Edelwood now, but you can also get them apparently with the corrupt souls by growing the Edelwood. I'm not entirely sure how that works. And with that, we can now create, if we come back down to our Forbidden Arcanus room, we can now create it is called the Clibano. Again, these pronunciations are absolutely killing me. This is going to be another multi-block, though. And so as you can see from the UI here, and we're going to need another Mundabar dust, we have from right to left, bottom to top, it's going to be the polished darkstone on the edges, the polished darkstone bricks, and we're leaving on the sides, and we are leaving the center empty. So let me double check here. Yeah, so a little cross pattern as such. These polished darkstones are going to be on the edge here. Then we will make a little horseshoe with this. Put the polished darkstone on the sides here. Get this filled out, and not you. I want like this, and then boom, and then boom. Perfect. So with this, we are going to create, let me see here. Why didn't I get that quest reward? Oh, I need to create the buying Elderwood. So I need to create the wandering trader thing. I'll do that later. But for now, we're wanting to make the obsidian steel, which is going to require the artisan relic in order to create. So basically just alloying together raw iron and obsidian to make the obsidian steel. You do have to have this relic in here. And we're just going to also get some blaze rods as our fuel source, and we will place them in here and let this cook for a little while so we can get some obsidian steel. And from the Adelwood, again, don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but we can go ahead and smelt that and create the dark matter. And again, this is why I made the bees for this, just so that we can more easily obtain this stuff. So we got the obsidian steel, perfect. And now we need the corrupti dust, which we are going to need the obsidian steel for. You can use this obsidian steel in multiple different ways. This is going to be your main way, but yeah. It's pretty cool stuff, this mod. I really do like it. I do enjoy it. And with that, we can make the black hole. So with these two items, we can throw them on the floor here and it'll create a black hole. And I believe if we just throw bottles of enchanting into it, or do we have to... Oh, we might have to right-click it. I might have wasted some experience. Oh, well. But if we just keep right-clicking, we are going to get a lot of petrified orbs, or again, whatever they're called. It's been a while since I've done it this way. I honestly forget if the black hole dissipates, or if I can just kind of keep throwing these in and keep getting these orbs. I'll get as many as it'll let me get. Nope, it looks like it just keeps on going. Am I able to break this? This is a little bit worrisome. Hopefully this will despawn after a certain amount of time. If not, I'm gonna maybe see about getting rid of it one way or another. But that is all the bottles of experience that we have. So we got a lot of petrified orbs. And then I will go ahead and make the carpet to complete the quest rewards. So that is about all that we had time for this episode. In the next episode, I'm looking forward to expanding on this Hephaestus Forge, getting it upgraded, just going through the quest line. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you all in the next one.